We have these 6 keys in this set. The one is called chandas. That is the metrical composition of the stanzas of the Veda. That is the various meters of the songs and the stanzas or poems. Songs and the stanzas or poems. That is what is understood. They speak of the various Vedic mantras and how the syllables are divided and what is the meter and how to scan it, where to punctuate it. This is what the scholars know about this. But in its original, I will talk this also because it is a different way now. I will explain what these things are. You will find the whole day, as you observe, you will find the whole day is divided into 2 halves, the day and the night. So this is called a meter of 2 syllables. So the sound here is composed in a meter of 2 syllables. You see. Then for certain purposes you divide the day into 3 equal parts of 8 hours each. It is called 3-syllabled meter. You see. Take your 24 hours, divide it into 3 equal parts. These parts are called the 3-syllable meters. And you take the 4 corners of the clock, that is 6 hours each. Sunrise, noon, sunset, midnight. It's called the tetragram. That is the 4-syllabled meter. You divide the day into 5 equal parts. Not only the day, but also year, like this. They have given all these calculations afterwards. This is the 5-syllable meter. Now, suppose he wants to explain something about this. You know what he does? He takes 2-syllable words and makes the whole mantra into 2 halves. One is representing night, the other is representing day. He explains this in sentences in this meter. You see. Suppose he wants to explain this. He takes 3-syllable words like this, and he takes 3 lined meters, called Tripada in Sanskrit. All this he explains. Just only as an example I am telling you. And like that he goes on multiplying, and you can ask why 24? We say 24 hours. Why 24 hours? The answer is because the watch has 12 hours. Why can't we have 10 hours a day or 100 hours a day? For example, kilo hours. We can have metric system. A day, 100 hours. An hour, 100 minutes. A minute, 100 seconds. Why not? Why 24? Is there any reason? If some fool had discovered it, he would have discovered 10 or 50 or 100, not 24. There must be something else. Similarly, if we say 360 degrees, why 360? Why can't we divide the circle into 100 degrees, each degree 100 minutes, each minute 100 seconds? Easy to calculate. Metric system. Why can't we convert this also into metric system? Not possible, because there is something there in nature which gave us these divisions. These are not man-made, they are impersonal. See, this is because, for example, there are one full moon and one new moon, one full moon, one new moon, like that. There are 12 full moons and 12 new moons in a year. So they are 24. And the same pattern division when applied to the day, they are called 24 hours. You can't make the year having 100 full moons and 100 new moons. Kilo. You can't make it metric. Therefore, you have to obey and accept that there are only 24 hours in the year, in the day. You see. Similarly, there is a reason for 360. Afterwards, I explain. We are just following them. This is taken as the meter of the year, because there is something in what we call sun, which is making the earth go around the sun and around itself, making the 12 full moons and 12 new moons. So, this is called a meter of the song of the earth to the sun. You see, it is called the grandest of all meters, and it is called Gayatri. This is only an example. Of course, all the other meters, there are 7 sets of meters, because the sun is a multiple of 7 in his splendor. So, this is exactly what is meant by meter. And when something is to be explained about this, it is explained in a mantra which is composed of 24 syllables. For example, what we call Gayatri mantra. This is one syllable in Sanskrit. Of course, syllables are according to Sanskrit or Hebrew, not according to English. Because the composers of those books they have composed in Sanskrit and Hebrew and Egyptian and Italian, like that. There was no English then. So we have to count the syllables according to those languages, not according to English. See the Gayatri Mantra. See. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is this? Om is the first. 8. So, the 8-syllabled lines, 3 lines put together form 1 meter, 1 stanza. So this is only one example. They speak of the sun as the center of our earth, and also the sun as the center of everyone who resides on this earth. This explains that sun, that means that Savita, Savita means one who delivers, everyone who is deliverer, that is one who liberates into creation from within himself. Devasya, that is of the Deva who liberates. First, I will give you in a systematic way, just if you don't take it, it is there, copy it systematically. I will give you a copy each tomorrow. Yes. Just let me do it. That deliverer, the Lord, Argaha, that is light, self-effulgence. So he shines forth into his rays upon this earth, and we are here as his own rays. So embrace that again, the original. We are meditating this original, that is the I am in, and he is stimulating the buddhi in us. If we feel like doing something, he makes us feel. If we feel like eating, he makes us feel. If we discover something, he makes us discover. So he is stimulating our buddhi. So this is the Gayatri Mantra, which teaches us about our own standard in the subjective sense. Gayatri is not the name of the mantra, but unfortunately people believe that it is the name of the mantra, but it is the name of the meter. It's the name of the meter, because this mantra is given in that meter. So Gayatri is called Tripada, that is 3-lined meter, 3 pada, a meter with a song with 3 lines. Generally we should have 4 lines or 2 lines, but here it is queer and odd, it is 3 lines. Nowhere in the world you will find a musical or metrical composition with odd number of lines. Very rarely. They should be even. But here we have one. So it is called Tripada. And also it is said Kukshi. That is, it has 6 bellies. Kukshi means belly. This poor Gayatri has 6 bellies. That means the whole year is divided into 6 equal divisions of seasonal effects in the tropical climate. They are called the 6 seasons, each producing its own fauna and flora of beings on this earth. Shadbhuj. This is. In us also it has 6 bhuks, that is the 5 senses and the mind. So it stimulates the buddhi and it is transmitted into the mind and transmitted to the 5 senses. And also it has Panchadisha, 5 heads. You will find the picture of an artist. He used directly with 5 heads. Upon the one same neck, she has 5 heads. You see the picture in the morning. Right again, 5 heads. Pancha means panta, 5. Shirsha means heads. What does that mean? He produces the 5 senses, 5 reactions, and 5 objective circumstances, and 5 states of matter, Panchabhuta. 5 states of existence, that is solid, liquid, gas or air, fire and space. These are the 5 heads of God. Solid, liquid, gas, fire and space or content of space. What the ancients called ether or akash. So, like this, the Vedic mantras are composed. Not only the Vedic mantras, many of the hymns of the Old Testament, they are composed like this. The book of the Egyptians, look at the text of the Egyptians. These scriptures are to be understood like this. The composition of the chapters of the books also is arranged in such a way. I'll give you only one example. All this comes under the science of what we call the Vedas, chandas. About the composition of a book doing like this, I will give you one example. I take that. See, the astrological symbol. We will have 12 visions beginning with head, face, Yasta, region, like this, you divide. Navel, then lower abdomen, like this, you have 12 visions. And you will find that the 12 visions of the body, the human being, are influenced by these 12 steps in the zodiac. And if you take the east into consideration, stands at the time of his birth. It is called his ascendant. And it represents the stock of the egg in the mother's womb. You see, exactly the plan proportion at the time when the fellow is fertilized, it is given as the total impression of that particular birth. This is what astrology uses. And this should be explained in one book. And the 12 months of the solar year should be explained. Then the book is composed in 12 cantos. You see, it is composed in 12 cantos. And in the first canto, the death of the hero is described. And this is also, this is the canto, according to astrology, this is the canto. So in the 10th canto, the birth of the hero is described. And the rest of the book is composed accordingly. This is what is called the scripture Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is of 12 cantos. In the first canto, the death of Lord Krishna is described. In the 10th canto, the birth and the growth of Lord Krishna is described. Unless you know the composition and the chandas and the texture, you think that the author is a fool and does not know how to make a book. This is only just to give an example. Another example is just the 24 luminations, that is the 12 full moons and 12 new moons, when divided into 4 equal parts. We have 6 hours in the sector of the day. And when the fertilization takes place at a particular point at a year, then delivery takes place at the end of 3 right angles. You see, that is 10 lunar months or 9 solar months in between. So 3/4 of the year, the conception takes place. And the remaining 1/4 is open between microcosmic man and macrocosmic man. And it is enjoyed as our span of life. You can read the book on progressions by great artists like Alan Lewis. Each of the 90 degrees is translated into 90 years of our span after birth, and we will get it again. This is something about the cycles of births and deaths and labors and conceptions. Of course, this is only just when we enter into it, there will be science. To explain this, if the author wants to take these 3 sectors, he has written the book in 18 cantos. That is Mahabharata. And in it, he has given us the book of initiation, 18 chapters, the Bhagavad Gita. And Symbolically, he has described a war taking place in 18 days. And the rate of production and destruction of bodies in evolutionary cycles as calculated is described as the symbolic destruction in the war 18 square. This is how the Mahabharata text is composed. So, this is all according to this called the science of chandas. So, the key things tomorrow I will explain and then enter into one mantra of Veda which we will take up because we will take up only the sixth key. That is the word meaning and the sentence and the import. The other things, it's not possible within 10 days. We have to sit for 1 year daily and then we can speak something about the keys. But from tomorrow, we'll explain the other 5 keys and then enter into explanation of one of the grand themes of Rigveda, only according to the 6th key, here and there speaking about the other keys. That we can do. Thank you. So we will continue from yesterday's lesson. We were talking about the 6 keys for the 7th text. And the first key we explained was chandas or the meters or the scanning of the Vedic text. The second one is called Kalpa, as I told you yesterday. And the word means the practical procedure of a ritual, the detail of the ritual. Kalpa. As to how to place a thing, where to place the chair, where to take the chair, how to sit down, how to stand up, how to hold the implements of rituals, all these things. That is the general scholarly explanation. But in its original esoteric sense, Kalpa means the detail of one full ritual which we call creation from its beginning to the ending of its wave. Because the original of all rituals is creation, and what we imitate from the creation as parts of it, let it be solar, cosmic or the planetary, it is a ritual conducted by the human being. But the original ritual or the Vedic ritual, it is said to have been conducted through eternity, from creation to creation. That is how the definition goes. And now, the whole creation, one creation starts as a wave and has its splendor and has its merging again. And it is understood as 2 halves, the first half and the second half. And the first half is described as having the silver cup, the golden cup. The second half is described as having the silver cup. So the golden half and the silver half of creation. It's nothing but taking the formula of the day and night. Day is considered to be solar or of golden nature in its
ray, according to the color of the sun's rays and the warmth, etc. The second half is considered to be the night of creation into which everything gets absorbed. So, the night is considered to be lunar, the symbol of which they took as silver. Gold is the astrological symbol of sun, and silver is the astrological symbol of moon. So, they call the two halves of the creation the golden half and the silver half, or the first half or the second half. For this reason, when they conduct the ritual, they have two bowls, one inverted upon the other, the lower being silver and the upper being golden. This they take as the beginning of the ritual, representing the day and the night as you stand on this earth. The day when the sun is above your head, the night when the sun is traveling below your feet. So this is called the upper bowl or the golden bowl. This is called the lower bowl or the silver bowl. Of course, for the present, we just try to understand the symbols and nothing more about it. Because by way of introduction, we are just getting familiarized with the basic concepts of the authors, how they intended and how they gave their alphabet, their language and their symbolism. That's all. Then only, after getting familiarized with these things, we will be able to go into the real import. Now, from the beginning of the emerging of one creation to the ending of the merging of one creation, it is called one total creation, the detail of which is called Kalpa. So, one is expected to know something about the rough detail of Kalpa before he can understand the import of the Vedic mantras. If we go into the details or the figures, it will be just too tedious, and many of you will be pleased to go away, not to return tomorrow evening. But just I'll give you the very rough outlines of how they understand these things. The Kalpa. One day of gods is considered to be equivalent to 1 year of the beings on this earth. Gods means Devas. In the Deva kingdom, there will be one day when we experience 1 year. That's the scale taken by the Vedic seers. And we have 30 days roughly as 1 month. So, the Deva kingdom has our 30 years as their 30 days. And 12 such months make 1 year to us, and 12 such Deva months make 1 Deva year to the Devas. They are called divine years. That means 365 mortal years, that is human years measured by human beings, according to the sunrise and sunset, 365 years make 1 year to the Deva kingdom. That means the groups of Devas that are working in the mineral and the plant and the animal kingdoms and the biological phenomena of this earth, they have their bigger periods, which we can equate to our periods and call their own days and their own years. That is what they mean. Every scripture has such symbolism in some way or other. For example, the 7 days of creation in the Genesis. If we just go through the Genesis without knowing that such a mystic language exists to these scriptures, we think that it is the writing of a primitive Paleolithic human beings. Just they thought that the whole creation was conducted in 7 days. That is stupid. No human being with common sense believes that the creation was done during 7 mortal days. Because there is, above everything, there is common sense which makes us understand to a certain extent what is there in nature. And if we believe common sense more and follow it, we will get what we call science. So, if you carefully study the activity of the 7 days of creation in the Genesis, you see that the sun and the moon come on the 4th day. You laugh at it. How could there be 3 days before the sun and moon came? See, that is the result of our reading a book without knowing the alphabet. So, the authors call us fools if we attempt to read books without learning the alphabet. See, there are 7 periods of time, each of which contain millions and millions of years, which they called days. And the whole creation is conducted in 7 stages. That is what they mean by days. So on the 4th stage, in the 4th stage, there is the planetary awakening, and therefore there was the sun and the planets and the moon. That is how the book is to be understood. Similarly here, every scripture has its own symbolism, and we have to approach the scripture according to that particular symbolism. Here we have the days of humans, that is mortals on this earth, that is the biological units on this earth, and the years of the Deva kingdom, the Devas who are working out the nuclear and the biological and the meteorological and the planetary phenomena on this planet. So they have their own years, and we have our own years. There is an equation given here in the Kalpa. This is one aspect we have to remember. Then another aspect is this is a wonderful number which forms a master key to enter into the secrets of the scriptures, just as we have the master key numbers in the Old Testament. Don't think that the Old Testament is primitive and is written by the primitive man. Don't think that the New Testament is different from the Old Testament. Don't believe that the head is cut off from the trunk. You can understand a human being only when you understand the head, hands, trunk, feet, etc., the whole totality. So you should know how to read the book in its totality, between the lines. The flesh and blood of a book, not the skeleton of a book. So we should try to know the biology of a book, not only the anatomy of a book. Anatomy leads us to the anatomy theater where you find only corpses. In the anatomy theater, you don't find human beings lying on the table. Corpses will be there. So, these are the key numbers. This is called the number of the beast of Apocalypse. This is called the number of God coming down. This is not at all antichrist as the churchman believes. Gospel and the scripture has nothing to do with any church, because Christ has nothing to do with any Christian. He is very sorry about the Christians, because Christianity speaks more of itself than of Christ. Similarly, the Vedas, they never speak anything about Hinduism. The poor Hindu does not know anything of the Vedas, because the authors of the Vedas were never Hindus. They were universalists like the Christ or the Buddha. They were not poor in their intellectual character to